So when Vita and I were first married, we wanted to have a family. And after a year or two, we started to try and have children, and very quickly conceived with our first child. She was born in 1996, and probably within a year or two after that, we felt like it was time to try and have our second child. But this go around, it wasn't nearly as easy. Months went by, and we were not conceiving. And the longer it went, the more difficult it seemed. We were trying various things, seeing various doctors, and every doctor we visited said, "You're both healthy. It's just not time." And that was really difficult. So Vita had a heart for adoption. She had always thought about adopting. She had an older brother that was adopted. I, on the other hand, was not very interested in adoption. I grew up in a small town in South Georgia, and there weren't a lot of adopted children there. And it was a very foreign thought for me, this idea of taking on someone else's child as your own. Would I actually be able to love them as much as I loved my natural-born child? And Vita's prayers changed. Instead of praying for a second child, she started praying, "Lord, either change my heart or change Chip's, because something's got to give." And it was me that gave. The Lord literally changed my heart, and I knew that He could give me the capability to love another child as much as I loved my own. So I had two stipulations for the adoption. I said, we can do this, but first I would say, let's go for another girl. The second stipulation was that it would be international. So with international and a girl, our option was China. And so we started the process for adopting in China. It took us about 6 months to put the paperwork together and send it over to China. And that's when it happened. We send the paperwork over, and a couple of months later, we find out we're expecting with a boy. So fear started to set in again for me. At that point in time, I thought, let's put the adoption on hold, because the agency's going to be a little concerned that we've got a life event like this going on in the middle of the process. But Vita said, we just can't do that, because I have been praying for this child, and she is already here. And if we stop the process now, it's like she's been abandoned a second time. And she was right. So we continued with the process. We got the referral, which is when they send the picture and let you know her name. Fu Li Ting was her name. And she was big and healthy and bald as could be. So we were facing new challenges now, because the doctors told Vita, you can't go over to China in your condition. Vita's sister Trudy went with me to go and pick Amy up. We were over there for 18 days, and it was a wonderful opportunity for me to bond with Amy before we actually got back to the States. And I think back now at how, I had the fear of, will I be able to love someone else's child as much as I love my own? And I can't help but thank God the fact that He had enough willingness and no hesitation of loving us as adopted children as much as He loved His own Son, Jesus Christ.